Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this new video I would like to tell you something about a project I have been working on in the past years. This is a guitar head, a tube guitar head amplifier and a matching speaker. So something a little bit different from what you're used to see in the channel, but nevertheless still we are speaking about tube amplifier, which is my main interest, I would say. I really hope you enjoy this video. Thank you very much for your attention. In this first picture you can see how the guitar amplifier and matching speaker are looking like. On top we have the amplifier, of course. I decided to build a glass part on the front panel which allows to see the tubes glow, which is, I believe, very nice. On the bottom you can see the matching speaker. This is another view of the unit from the back. We have the amplifier on top again. You can see the two fans which I decided to deploy for maximum reliability. And on the bottom the matching speaker. This is a closed speaker. Also you can see the two speak-on connectors for connecting the amplifier with the speaker. Let's give a closer look at the amplifier unit. Everything you see here was built by myself, starting from the tube amplifier itself, going through the wooden cabinet, and finally the fabric, the cover of the whole unit. In order to keep the output power under control, I have deployed a Magic Eye tube. You might remember this kind of tube. This was, for example, deployed in the old tube radios. This tube, this is an EM80 tube, which, as you can see, provides a screen. The brightest part of this screen moves according to the instantaneous output power. And this is so nice, this is so cool in my opinion. This is the amplifier removed from the cabinet. Looking from the right to the left, looking on top, we see first the power transformer. Then we have the tube rectifier. This is a GZ34. Then again, going to the left in the background, we see the smoothing choke, which is important to level the high voltage for the tubes. Then we have the 4 EL84 power tubes. These 4 power tubes are configured in parallel push-pull cathode bias for an output power of about 30 watt. Then we have, of course, the output transformer. Looking at the foreground, from the left to the right, we have the EF86 tube. This is the preamplifier tube for the first input channel, which is the normal channel. Then we have two ECC83 tubes. These are for the second channel, the bright channel. Then the fourth tube we see is again an ECC83 tube, which acts as a phase splitter for the 4 power tubes. Finally, we have the Magic Eye tube we spoke about before. Looking at the front panel controls, we have 2 channels available to the guitarist. Every channel has 2 different degrees of sensitivity. You see the 2 jack plugs on the front panel as well. Each one of the 2 channels provides separate volume control and relevant tone control. As you can see, on the normal channel we have a single knob tone control. On the bright channel we have 3 different knobs tone control for the bass, medium and treble tones. The two controls you can see on the right act on both channels. So we have the master volume control and the tone cut controls. As the name suggests, the cut control can can decrease the high frequencies. This is an inside view of the amplifier. You can see the deployed electronics. Here I would just like to highlight the central grounding point, which is very important for sake of signal to noise ratio. Also, you can see the two custom built transformers. On the right you can see the power transformer, on the left the output transformer. The smoothing choke is not visible because it's outside the chassis. Also, you can see the very robust resistor. This is the cathode resistor for the power tubes. We have, in fact, a cathode bias configuration for the 4 power tubes. Those are configured in parallel push-pull, again, as I said before, for an output power of 30 watts. Finally, on the right, you can see the smoothing choke for the preamplifier tubes heaters. I decided to use a DC heater for all the preamplifier tubes, again for sake of signal to noise ratio. Here we have the speaker, which was deployed in a closed enclosure. It's built by Weber, based in the US. It's the ceramic Blue Dog within the Weber production.